Hello and welcome to another episode of Cup of Joe. This is probably going to be weird, weird episode. I'm actually in the middle. Well, no, at the end. I'm on the third day of a 3-day fast, and um, my mind is like spacey. It's kind of an odd headspace. Um, I was originally planning to do this video tomorrow after finishing the fast, but I'm in the middle of working, and I thought, why not just do it now? Why not just record a thing, working on the magazine and coffee stuff. So let's put up the video. So I did have coffee today, which is contributing to my enthusiasm for doing things. Pardon me as I walk around. Um, I've actually already had my coffee, and I don't think I dare do more than 1 cup right now. Just staying hydrated with water. But so it's actually pretty interesting. Again, like I said, this is the third day of not eating. Um, I've been Didn't have coffee yesterday, but the first day I did have coffee in the morning like usual, and that was all fine. Otherwise, what I've been drinking is water, of course, and water with salt, apple cider vinegar, and that kind of thing. Got to keep the electrolytes and hydration good, and everything else should be fine. I have an odd level of energy and not energy at the same time, and that's probably the caffeine. But so today I had Conduits Columbia. Um, what is the origin of that? I actually have Conduit's website open right now, so I'm going to see if he has it on here. Oh, he does not. Okay, because I know he still has some of that Columbia. We just talked about it the other day while we were recording a show. I'm going to link to Conduit's website, and I'm going to remind Jesse that it's not on the site. Possible he's out of it. In any case, I had the Columbia, really delicious. We recorded podcast for Coffee Lovers Radio. We recorded episodes on Friday, and I had that Columbia as an Americano. Um, Good level of like chocolatiness with some kind of brightness to it. Really enjoyable. That's what I'm remembering from Friday. Today I had the Columbia brewed on the Kalita Wave, which I've done. I'm just like moving through the rest of it. I think I have 2 brews left worth of it, so maybe like 70 grams or something. And uh, I couldn't taste anything. Like I mean, I could taste like the bright edge, and probably the sweetness, but I think the not eating things has a particularly interesting side effect on the ability to perceive taste, especially in something as complex as coffee. So that's a particularly interesting experience. I've never done a fast this long before. I think the longest I've done before this is, I want to say 2 days, but I think it's more like 36 hours, where you start the first day, just you begin the day and you just don't eat anything, no breakfast, nothing like that. So you kind of extend, if you start from the last time you ate, and you go through that day, and then into the next day, and then you have dinner on the second day. So I think that's what I've done before, but it's been a really long time. This time, the fast started from, the last thing I consumed would have been, let's just say 11 p.m. Friday, and I'm recording this at 12:48 on Monday. So uh, 11 p.m. Saturday would have been the first 24 hours, 11 p.m. Last night would have been the second. So I'm, yeah, 2.5 days into it. Um, so I'll end up going for 3 days plus 8 hours, I guess, until the next meal. Um, the next meal being tomorrow breakfast. Anyhow, I have no idea how this video is going to pan out. It could be really, really odd. Um, but I was just observing the effect that the not eating had on tasting the coffee, because I know I was having a really rich and delicious coffee, but I just couldn't, I could not taste any of it. Um, very, very odd experience, to say the least. Yeah. So, just published the latest issue of the magazine, and I will have probably the well, I'll definitely have the from the publisher going up on the channel. I've been doing that for since the beginning of the year. I think I started doing that. I do these videos at the beginning of each issue. That's just like from the publisher. I make a video, just kind of introduction. Sometimes I talk about, well, usually I talk about what's in the issue, but I often try to give context for like why the issue is covering these subjects. I have a grand old vision for what I'm trying to do with the magazine as a whole, and then each issue plays like a different tiny role in that, like all tiny little steps kind of leading along this way of kind of sharing, giving you the understanding of the world of coffee, all the people in it. So this issue that just went out is the first issue where I'm talking about Cafe Femenino, which is an organization that works to empower women in the coffee industry, especially, most especially in producing countries. So check that out. It's really interesting, the challenges that women have to face in the coffee producing countries, and it's not something you are going to be aware of unless you read about it. And I think it really sheds light on the the lives and the challenges that people who make our coffee have to go through. So that's what that's about. The next issue, I'm more than happy giving you a sneak preview on that. Working on putting that together already. The main, let's see, cover article, shall we say, or the main articles in the issue is going to be all about the Chemex. So I do like to, I, I do like to have these like intense, deep focuses on like real challenging issues, but also like to mix it up month to month with other parts of coffee. Like it's important, I think, to be just as passionate about the craft of it at home and getting into those subjects as it is like the people who are in coffee. So I do mix those subjects up. I'll link to the latest issue in the below the video here, as well as Conduit Coffee. I should make a note about this so I don't forget. My brain is being spacey. Yeah. And I guess what I'm doing right now maybe gives you a little bit of a sneak peek into my day-to-day. It's a lot of writing and setting up content for the magazine and for the emails related to the magazine and all that kind of thing. I do a lot of work through email. So, you know what? I'll link to the email newsletter below. also, if you'd like to get a taste of what that's all about. Actually, what I'll do, instead of link to the email newsletter, I'll link to the quiz I have set up. It's a what type of coffee drinker are you quiz. You've probably seen me talk about this before. I'll link to that. I'll link to that and the email newsletter. But if you take the quiz and you sign up at the end of the quiz, you'll get a little something extra special along with the email newsletter. I think it's a lot of fun. I know a lot of people have found that process of learning about their approach to coffee, because there's a lot of different mindsets as far as it goes to approaching coffee. It's not all just like we're all enthusiasts. I think it's reasonable to assume if you're watching me ramble on in my fasted brain state about coffee, that you have an enthusiasm about it, but your focus and your interest is probably unique to a certain extent, and it's definitely different person to person. My particular interest is a lot about exploring the coffee and the people, which of course it led me to make a magazine about it. But you might just have like a broad interest in learning about everything. You might be really into the craft of it. There's all these different ways that you can approach an enthusiasm for coffee, and so that's what that quiz is all about. But if you take the quiz, I'll tell you a little bit about where your approach is coming from and the things you can learn, and then you can get a whole bunch of emails. From me. I like to have conversations and teach about coffee, and I do that through the videos here as well as through emails. All right, I'm actually finding it challenging to do the work here and talk on the video at the same time, so I'm just gonna wrap up the video. It's long enough as it is. As always, if you have any thoughts, comments, please leave them below the video. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Cup of Joe, and I'll see you in the next one.